You know that feeling, right? You look at your to-do list and it feels like you're just drowning. Everything is screaming for your attention all at once, and it is a fast track to serious burnout. But what if there was a way to just cut through all of that noise? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. We're going to break down something called the MoSCoW method. And trust me, it's a tool designed to help you get that control back. Not by working harder, but by working a whole lot smarter. I mean, it's a scene we all know way too well. You look at your list, and it is just this chaotic jumble of everything. That urgent client email feels just as important as scheduling a dentist appointment. And that huge project deadline, it's sitting right next to do the laundry. How on earth can everything feel like the number one priority? And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because when you're just reacting to the next ping or the loudest demand in the room, you are not in the driver's seat. So how do you actually start making conscious, deliberate choices about where your energy goes? Well, I think the answer is right here. So let's get into what the MoSCoW method actually is and how it can bring some real, honest-to-goodness order to that chaos we were just talking about. Okay, so here's the big idea. MoSCoW is not just another to-do list. Think of it more like a filtering system. It makes you stop and evaluate every single task, and then you have to put it into one of four buckets. This is the move that shifts you from just reacting to everything to being truly proactive. And those four buckets, they're actually hidden right there in the name itself. So let's break down exactly what M, S, C, and W really stand for. All right, this right here is the heart of the whole system. First up, your must-haves. These are your absolute non-negotiables. If you don't do these things, there are going to be real consequences. Think, submit the final report by the deadline. Next, you've got your should-haves. Now, these are important for sure, but they're not critical. The world won't end if they get pushed back a day. Then there are the could-haves. These are like bonus items, the nice-to-haves that you can tackle if you find a spare moment. And finally, my personal favorite, will not have. This category is pure genius. These are tasks you intentionally decide not to do right now, specifically to protect your focus and your sanity. So now that we get the categories, let's talk about how this actually works out in the real world. Because, let's be honest, a theory is useless if it's not a practical tool you can use every single day. In a work setting, this method can be an absolute game changer. It gives you the power to push back against that everything is urgent all the time culture. When a colleague drops a new request on you, you can say, okay, I can definitely help, but right now my must-haves are X and Y. Is this new task a should-have or a could-have? That one simple question changes everything and sets realistic expectations for everyone. And oh man, for those of us working from home, you know how incredibly blurry those lines between work and life can get. The MoSCoW method helps you draw those lines clearly. It lets you define what a successful workday actually looks like, separating your professional must-haves from personal could-haves. That way you can actually shut your laptop and feel that sense of accomplishment, instead of that nagging guilt over what you didn't get to. And for any students out there, this method is fantastic. Instead of feeling totally swamped by a mountain of reading, you can start to categorize. Those core topics for the final exam, total must-have. That extra recommended article, that's a should-have or maybe even a could-have. It brings instant order and focus to your study plan. Feeling inspired? Good, because getting started with this is actually so simple. Let's just walk through the exact steps you can take, like today, to put this whole thing into action. First, just do a brain dump. Get every single thing that's rattling around in your head out and onto a piece of paper. Second, go through that list and give each item its letter, M, S, C, or W. Third, and this is crucial, put on your blinders. Your must-have list is your entire world. Focus only on that until it's done. Fourth, for your should-haves, be intentional. Block out time in your calendar for them. Fifth, use those little pockets of free time or those low-energy moments in the afternoon for your could-haves. And finally, number 6, look at your will-not-have list, take a nice deep breath, and give yourself permission to just let it go for now, completely stress-free. And hey, here's a really important final point. This is not a set it and forget it kind of system. Your life changes, right? So your priorities will too. A should-have from last week might suddenly become this week's top must-have. Reviewing your list regularly is what keeps this whole method flexible and actually useful for your real life. So as we wrap things up, let's just zoom out for a second and remember what the real goal is here, because it's about so much more than just having an organized list.
This quote you see here just perfectly captures the whole philosophy. Productivity isn't about how many tasks you can cram into a day. It's about having the clarity to choose the right tasks, the ones that are actually going to move the needle. It's about being intentional with your most valuable resource, your focus.
So I'll leave you with this question. After all this, I want you to think about your own to-do list right now. What is the one true must-have that deserves all of your attention first? Find it and go get it done.